Okay, guys, this is going to be my review for the movie Hateful Eight, another Quentin Tarantino movie. And with the Hateful Eight, I really enjoyed the the third act of the movie. This movie is nearly a 3 hour movie, and so I really loved the last hour where the film picked up. And I think that the thing about this movie is it's 3 hours long, yet it takes place 80% of it in one setting. That's crazy to me. How you can make a film that's entertaining, yet has one setting and is 3 hours long, or nearly 3 hours long. It's really 2 hours, 47 minutes. So, but relatively speaking, 3 hours long, and yet mainly staying in one setting. How can you make that entertaining and exciting? And I think that comes down to the characters in Quentin Tarantino's writing. The directing's good, but there's not much to direct. It's just a conversation. I think what makes the movie great is the conversation and developing these characters. And I think that is interesting. I think developing these relationships in this particular setting, in this particular time is interesting, but it's not exciting. You know what I mean? It's like these characters don't pop as much as Django, or as Dr. Schultz, or Jules, or Vincent, or Mia, or Marcellus Wallace. They don't jump off as these crazy characters that are as interesting as those characters. I think they're interesting characters, but I think it's hard because these are all interesting characters in their own right, but when all they really have to do is just talk to each other instead of any real development of the plot at the beginning. And I think what the beginning does best is just set up these characters so that when they jump into the story, you know a little bit about them. You know a little bit about them as far as what they say. You set up who they are so that when they twist everything toward the end, it becomes interesting. But like once they set up the plot of there's someone who doesn't belong, someone poisoned the coffee or the tea or whatever. That's when it picked up, when you see, okay, who truly figure out who was who, and the gunplay, but also it's just the story, this mystery is so fascinating. But the problem with the mystery is it doesn't kick in to the last hour of the movie. So it's like the first hour and 47 minutes is getting to know these characters, and it's funny and it's interesting, but that's it. And I think it can be boring because how long can we spend with these characters? And there is great moments throughout the first an hour and 47 minutes, but this film becomes brilliant with the last hour. So it's like it's a torn for me, because on the one hand I'm looking at this film overall and I'm like, I really, really love this movie, and I love the ending, and I love how it all comes together with, big surprises and big reveals toward the end. But when I look at it as kind of a whole, it could feel in a sense, because you have this very long movie where a lot of it at the beginning is just, it has no real consequence. It's all set up, waiting for the payoff. And I think when you have setup and payoff, inevitably, even if the payoff is great, it's hard when the setup is longer than the payoff. I think that's the thing. The setup for this movie was longer than the payoff, because I truly believe this movie is a tale of two parts. And one part is this Reservoir Dogs meets Broadway, or not Broadway. I don't know how to like the first part of it is just getting to know these characters, conversations with these characters that are interesting, but they're not I didn't get invested, because like these characters are interesting, but they kind of blend together, where some of them have more to do than others. But overall, really enjoyed it. I think it was still, like, even though I'm saying negative stuff about it, it's just because I have it. I do feel that way. But I rewatch it. I think it's very rewatchable. I think, especially rewatching it, knowing the whole scope and how it all comes together at the end, I think it can make a rewatch very fascinating to see how it all comes together, the whole plot comes together upon rewatches, see if there's details leading toward those, those kind of end scenes and where the real plot unfolds. So that'll be interesting. Anyways, stay tuned for videos coming at you.